So you trying to make some money with some ads? Oh, all right. Well, we about to get into that with AdMob in this video coming up. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Kilo Loco, and today we're going to be going over how to implement ads into your app using AdMob. Now, the reason I went with AdMob was just because it's probably the most relevant one to probably go with. It's Google after all. Anyways, I'm going to be showing you guys how to get it into your app. It's really easy to do. We're just going to set up some banner ads, the ones that you are most commonly familiar with, the ones that you usually see just pop up the little title at the bottom. We're going to be going over that. But before we get into that, I just got to say, make sure you head over to kiloloco.com and check it out. And if you ever need some help, you can hit this little join button right here. It's going to take you over to the All Access membership, where I'm going to actually send you a Slack invite so you could have direct access to yours truly as soon as you enroll in this membership. It's called a course, but it's a membership. And you also get any and all exclusive content that I put out on kiloloco.com. So check that out. All right, guys, let's jump into it and let's see what we got so far. So as you can see, empty view controller, empty app delegate, main storyboard. Well, that's quite empty too. All I have in here is just a simple image, bam, like so. And what we want to do is we want to actually have an ad down here that's going to essentially be generated by Google for us. So first thing that we need to do is we need to go over to our browser. Mine is Safari. That's what I choose to use. And what you need to do is you need to sign up for Google AdMob. So if you go ahead and go up to your browser and just type in AdMob at the top and do this, it should come up as the #1 result on Google. And then you should land on a page that looks something like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hit sign up. Now, once you hit sign up, you should, depending on if you already are using a Gmail account or not, it's going to say sign in with current account or create and use another account. So essentially what you need to do is there's a couple things that you actually need to get going with AdMob. And I'm actually not going to get into all the different signups because the signup should cover most of it for you. But if you don't have a Gmail, which you probably do, but if you don't, then create one. If you do sign in with it, and then that's actually going to allow you to create an account attached to that Gmail. Now, during this process, there's going to be 2 other sites that you kind of have to sign up for, and that's AdWords. So you need Google, or also known as Google Ads. So you want to say Google AdWords. If you just do that, Google AdWords, it should take you to the Google Ads website. You're going to need one of these accounts, and you're also going to need a Google AdSense account. Now, I'm not too sure why you need the Google Ads or the AdWords account. I don't fully understand why you need it, but you do need one. I think they allow you to set it up during the AdMob signup, but you do need the Google AdSense account for sure, because that's actually how they pay you. They pay out through Google AdSense, and Google AdSense collects all your payment information, like your address, like bank account, all that other stuff. So that's why you're going to need a Google AdSense, but that should be all handled for you in the sign up. Now, once you finish signing up and go through that entire process, you should be dropped onto a screen that looks something like this. And then from here, what you'll be able to do is you'll go to this apps tab. And what you want to do is you want to do add app. So we're going to just add that app. And did we already publish on the App Store? I'm going to say no. And then we just go ahead and enter in the correct information. So whatever the app name is, and then which platform we're on, which obviously iOS. All right, so I'm just going to call mine working with ads, and this is going to be iOS. And as you can see, what it's going to do is it's going to generate this app ID for you. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hit this little copy icon, and we're going to hang on to that. So I'm going to go back over to my view controller. And what I'll do is I'll just put it up here. So I'll be like app ID, just so that I could have it for safekeeping later, or you could paste it somewhere else that you like to keep stuff. I don't know. Anyway, you'll be able to reference it again if you ever need to, but I'm just going to put in the view controller for right now. And also what it's going to say is it's going to have you create an add unit. So that's what we want to do next. So we're going to do create add unit, and we're going to be working with banners in this tutorial. Like I said, it's going to be like the little banner that's either at the bottom or the top. We're going to put ours at the bottom, and that's what we're going to be working with in here. If you guys want like more stuff, more in-depth ads, then I am considering making a course on it. Just let me know if that's something that you guys would be interested in. Obviously, it would be included in the membership, which would be, it'd be pretty cool. But yeah, so let's select the banner, and then what we want to do is we want to give this a name. So this is essentially, the name is essentially how you're going to remember this. Like if you have multiple ads across your app and you want to be able to kind of track the analytics of those, what you need to do is you need to make sure you kind of have a clear ad unit name, which is just the name of the ad and kind of where you planning on placing it. So I'm just going to say home screen. You can call it literally whatever you want, but it makes sense to kind of give it a name of where this ad might be placed inside your app, so that when you're looking at the analytics, you could be like, oh, home screen. Yeah, that was where the ad was tapped, you know. And then you have some of these advanced options. We're just going to leave it how it is, because you don't really need to mess with any of this. This is all, the default is it's good enough, honestly. So create an ad unit. And then what you do is, once again, you're going to get your app ID, which is right here. But this time we want to save the add unit ID, because this is what's actually going to go into our production level app. So when you're ready to put your app into production, release it to the world, you want people to, you know, download your app and then tap on the ad. This is the ID that you're actually going to be using. We're not going to actually use it too much in this video. I'm going to show you how to do it, but it's not what we're actually going to be using to test out. There's a separate testing ID. So this is going to be our unit ID, like that. And I'll just save that right there, just so that for safekeeping, or wherever you want to save it. I don't really care. And then you can also, from here, you just say done, you know, review the policies or whatever, but you ain't gonna review the policies. I bet you ain't gonna review them. So the way that we're going to actually do this, I'm going to be using CocoaPods. You could technically do the manually install, but even on their documentation, they show you, hey, we recommend that you use CocoaPods for this. It's just a whole lot easier, less room for error, right? So open up your terminal, and what we're going to do is we're going to change directory to the to our current projects directory, and we want to get CocoaPods up and running. All right, so now I'm in my projects directory. As you can see, I'm working with ads. That's the name of the project. And what I want to do is I'm just gonna make sure that I do the pod init. And then now that I have a pod file, I want to open up that pod file. And I'm gonna actually open this up with Xcode. All right, so now that this has been opened up, my pod file is opened up, what I can do is we want to uncomment this line right here. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're adding the the correct pod. So that's going to be pod Google mobile ads SDK, like so. And then all we have to do is just save that bad boy. Just save it. So Google mobile ads, like this, and we should be good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close out my project, because after this we need to open up that workspace. So let's go ahead and do pod install, but we're not just going to do regular pod install. We're going to do repo update, like so. So dash repo update, and I'm not really sure why we do dash repo update, but that's what they put in their documentation. So that's what we're going to do. All right, and then 10,000 years later, you should finally have finished installing all the required dependencies. As you can see, I'm actually going to be working with Google Mobile Ads SDK 7.42. Yours is probably going to be higher the further in the future that you're watching this video. So hello from the past, I guess. Anyway, once you have that installed into your project, then what we want to do is we want to open up the workspace of our project. So I'm just going to open up working with ads.xc workspace, like so, and we're going to press enter. That's going to open up the correct project file. All right, so now that we have our XC workspace opened up, and if we actually go over to our app delegate, first things that we want to do, just like most other SDKs that you import into your project, there is a configuration that you have to set up. So what I usually like to do first is just make sure that dependency is actually installed properly, and you do that by importing it. So in this case, it's Google Mobile Ads like this, and then just simply running it. And I'm going to run this on the XS. So let's go ahead and run that. And then if it successfully compiles and then we see our actual app pop up, then that means that it is installed correctly. All right, build success, and we see our beautiful app and it's there and we're ready to go. Oh yeah. So it actually crashed, which is kind of a good thing. It just means that it was installed to the point to where it did kind of work. You just have to make sure that you set it up properly. So there's a couple of other things that we need to do in the info.plist, and let's go ahead and do that right now. What we're going to do is we're going to go over here to our info.plist. We're going to open it as source code. And what we need to do is we need to insert a value that will actually allow it to know that we have an app ID associated with this project. So I'm going to just paste this in here. So if you want to get a copy of the code that I'm about to paste in here, obviously you're going to use your own piece, your own app ID. But if you want to get a copy of what I'm about to paste in here, then just go ahead, check the link in the description. You could get, the source code to this project as well as this code snippet at that link. So yeah, check it out. All right, so as you can see, it's GAD application identifier. And then what you want to do is you actually want to insert your app ID right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our view controller. We're going to copy our app ID right here. And then we're going to go to our info.plist, once again, still showing it in source code. And we're going to just paste this bad boy right there. We're going to replace it. We're going to be like, bam, get the out of here. And there we go. So this is really all we really need to do for the info.plist. And then when you go ahead and open it as a property list again, you should see it looking something like this. And then what we want to do is we want to head back on over to that app delegate. And what we have to do is we have to add a one-liner that's essentially going to help set up the configuration for our Google Ads. So let's add that in now. All right, so as you can see, all we did was we added this one-liner right here, and it's just this simple function on the shared instance of the mobile ads object. And what that's going to do is it's just going to help configure our project so that we're able to properly use Google Ads. So let's go ahead and run this now, and let's see if it doesn't crash. All right, here we go. And then we see our app, and then what happens? Hey, guess what? No crashes. So that means that we're moving forward appropriately, we doing stuff right. All right, next what we want to do is we want to head over to our storyboard, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually add in just a regular plain view, a UI view. So Command Shift L for library, and then we're going to do UI view, and we're just going to add this in here. Now they have actually specified what size you should be using, and that is actually going to be 320 width by 50 height for your default banner ads. And what we'll do is we're just going to make sure that this is horizontally centered. And then also we want to add a bottom, a bottom constraint. So we'll just set that to 0 because we want the banner to be all the way at the bottom. And your UI view should look something like this now. What we'll also do is while this UI view is selected, we need to head up to that identity inspector. We need to say God. We need to say GAD, banner view, bam, like so. And now it's a GAD banner view, bam. Head back over to your view controller, and this is where we're going to add the @IB outlet. All right, so then we're going to add a @IB outlet banner view. We need to make sure that we import that bad boy first, or else it's not going to work. So Google Mobile Ads needs to be imported in order for us to have access to that object. Head back over to the storyboards. I actually realized, halfway through that you guys like to click and drag, but I don't like to click and drag, between screens. So I did it this way. Hope that's all right. Anyways, we connected the banner view from here by right clicking the yellow thing and then dragging it onto our banner view right there. And then what we can do is head back over to our view controller, and there's just a little bit more that we need to do. So we need to specify what the add unit ID is, which is this unit ID right here, the one that you got from from your dashboard or wherever. And then what we need to specify is the root view controller, which is going to be this view controller, since this is going to be our home screen or whatever. And then you also need to specify, or you need to actually load the request to get that, banner set up. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, so as you can see, once again, the add unit ID that I'm using is just the one that's listed up here that I copied from our dashboard while we were going through the setup. The root view controller is going to be self, because that's where we're planning on displaying that that banner. And then we're just loading just your typical request. We're not doing anything special, nothing fancy, none of that. So we're just going to go ahead and run this, and we're going to see what happens. All right, here we go. And we run it, but nothing happens. But also notice that you're not seeing this, the banner view down here. So what's going on is that, one, the GAD banner view actually makes the background clear for you. So you don't really have to worry about it being white on like a dark background or whatever. But two, what's actually happening is we're having problems loading a banner up right now. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this a step further, and we're going to add this view controller as a delegate for our banner view. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and make sure that our view controller is it has an extension where it's conforming to the GAD banner delegate. All right, so now that it's conforming to the GAD banner view delegate, there's a couple of methods on it that we can have. So the first one is that we actually received the actual ad. Right, so this is what happens. This delegate method will actually be called when the ad did come in. The other method that we're gonna check for that's important, there's a couple of methods that you can use, but the other one that's pretty important is to check if it failed to get a banner ad. So it did fail, and that's the one that we also want to implement. All right, so as you can see, we implemented this did fail to receive ad with error method. That's part of this GAD banner view delegate. And what we're going to do is we're just going to print out this error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this code again, and I'm going to see what's going on. Oh, but before we do that, what you want to make sure that you do is you want to make sure that you set the delegate for your banner view. So let's go ahead and make sure we do that. And you could do this in the storyboard as well, but it's a little bit clearer if we just do it right here. So we'll just do it right there. All right, so we pop up, nothing happens. Our breakpoint is hit, and we do skip so that it prints out, and we can see that this right here is the error that it printed out. So we're getting a Google AdMob error, and it's essentially saying no ad to show. And what I found the reason for this to be is that when you are first going through this process, it takes a couple hours for your ad unit ID to actually start working. Now, I don't know if this is intentional or not, because you're actually not even supposed to be using this unit ID until you're ready to go to production. Because if you start displaying ads in your simulator and they were popping up down here and you were clicking on them, that is actually registering as an actual like tap, like a legit tap. And somebody, whatever company that's being displayed down there, is actually paying for that tap that you're doing while you're testing. So you're actually not even supposed to use your unit ID when you're testing. What you're supposed to do is use a test ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab the test ID. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to head back over to Safari. We're going to go back. We're actually going to do a new Google search because I don't know how to get to the documentation from the actual dashboard of AdMob. I don't know if they actually even have a link. So just go ahead and do, AdMob documentation. Just type that into Google and you should be coming up with similar results as me. So AdMob documentation, AdMob for Google developers. We're going to hit the iOS. And what we want to do is we're going to scroll down. As you can see, we did this. Let's see. This is where all the documentation is. We did this, right? This is the manual process. We did this. We set up our identifier in our info.plist. We did this line of code. And then lastly, we need to implement a banner. So we're going to follow that. And then this is actually the test ID. So once again, I'll have this in a snippet if you're on the Kilo Loco Academy website. What I'll do is I'll have that in a snippet if you want to copy it, or you could just go to Google AdMob and search for it this way, how I just did it right now. And what we want to do is we just want to replace this with the test ID because we want to just test it. So like I said, at first, it takes a couple of hours before the unit ID actually starts working, but the test ID should work almost immediately, and you should get some type of UI that looks like this. So now you have your little banner at the bottom. So that's pretty much it, guys. There's not really much to it. Just make sure that whenever you're going to release to production that you do switch this back. You don't want to be going to production with a test ad unit because, well, reasons, right? Just make sure that you do that. And then, like I said, using the delegate methods is really useful when you're trying to debug these things. Another reason why your actual app, your unit ID wouldn't work is because you didn't set up your financial information through AdSense and all that stuff. So remember, all that stuff has to be set up. Everything that it's asking you to do, make sure that you do it so that you're not having any problems implementing ads, because they need to have all your payment information, your address, all that stuff needs to be implemented before Google Ads will actually work. But as soon as you do, this stuff should work pretty easy. Only a couple of lines of code and you're good to go. So thanks for stopping by today. I appreciate your time. If you guys ever need any help, make sure you head over to kiloloco.com/membership and join that membership right there. It's gonna get you access to your boy, and it's gonna get you unlimited access to all my exclusive content. So just check that out, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Keep coding passionately. Talk to you later.